Hi researchers! Yep, that's a thing now. Welcome back to research. If it's your first time here, my name's Adriana and I'm a new real estate investor in Toronto. These videos are meant to share what I've learned so far so that it can help you make more informed decisions when it comes to building your own real estate empire. This one's going to be about something that's near and dear to my heart, the actual experience of purchasing a unit. I'm going to share and rate my personal experience of purchasing a unit from 4 different developers. What I've noticed is that developers really emphasize awards that they've won for being innovative, for having a great design, for building a green building, which is great for the asset, but what does that mean for you and I during the purchasing period? I think what's been missing is holding the developer accountable for the actual experience of purchasing the unit. And maybe this is the forum to do it. After all, there are product reviews out there, so why not? Since we're talking about this from my personal experience, here are the KPIs that matter to me and what I've used to base the ratings on. Number 1, sales process. This refers to the worksheet process, the quality and the completeness of the floor plan package, and the actual signing process. Number 2, customer service. This refers to the team's approach to answering your questions and concerns during the sales process, but not just during the transaction, but afterwards as well. It is, after all, a multi-year relationship in most cases. Number 3, communications. To me, this is about keeping buyers updated on the progress of construction and the tools that they use to do that. Too often, I think there's an underlying attitude that they'll let you know when it's ready, thank you very much. Number 4, assignment clause. We'll take a look at how strict the assignment clause is from each developer, and depending on the size and height of the building, this will really impact you if you are a short-term investor, or if you do need the assignment clause because something changes in your life and you do need to let it go, even if it's not your original intention. Number 5, estimated occupancy date. How realistic was their occupancy date that they identified when you purchased the unit? This will affect end users in a big way because if you're planning to move into the unit, you're going to have to plan out your living situation accordingly while it's being built. So, to rate each of these categories, we're going to use a traffic light indicator. Green will mean good or great experience, yellow will mean could have been better but not detrimental, and red will mean needs improvement. Sales process. This is going to be green because the presentation center was nicely kept and the floor plan package in terms of the renderings and the drawings were actually really high quality. No complaints here, standard buying process. Customer service. This was also green. Questions that I did ask during the transaction and afterwards were promptly and professionally answered. Communications. This one is a yellow because as a purchaser, I didn't receive formal communication that construction had started. I actually found out through an ad online. Had I not been to the site a couple of times since they started, I wouldn't know what the progress of construction is. Assignment clause. This one's going to be a red. Their default position is pretty strict regarding assignments in that no assignments are permitted until occupancy. Or the other option is that you would have to seek the developer's permission, which comes with a whole slew of other requirements. Estimated occupancy. This is going to be a red because in 2018, when the unit was purchased, they identified the interim occupancy as 2021, and this tower is 56 stories, so 3 years is really not realistic, especially considering in 2018 when the unit was purchased, they hadn't even started excavating yet. Now, they may have been referencing lower floors for the 2021 date, but there was no note to indicate this, and the sales rep also didn't specify or clarify this. Sales process. This is a green. This was my first worksheet purchase and it was a great experience. Timelines and allocations were fair and the signing took place over 2 days at the sales office. Now, because I did have a lot of worksheets, signing appointments were delayed or running behind, but they did have catering at the sales office and also an interactive screen where people could take a virtual tour of the building. Customer service. This was also a green. The questions that I did ask were promptly and professionally answered as well. I recently had an appointment with their interiors team to choose upgrades for the unit that was purchased. It was a great experience. The decor specialist I worked with was very patient and very knowledgeable. They really made me feel like not just another unit, and they took their time, which was very much appreciated. Communications, green. In my opinion, Empire has really done a good job with keeping buyers up to date on the progress of construction. We received an email when they started excavating and have been receiving periodic updates ever since. Typically, the updates include a high-level narrative of where construction is, and they also include a 2 to 3 minute video that's shot with a drone. So I think that this has been very well done. Assignment clause. I'm rating this a green because the assignment clause is mid-range in terms of how strict they are. You can assign your unit 90 days prior to occupancy or when the building is enclosed. So that means the roof slab is complete and the curtain wall is also complete. Estimated occupancy, yellow. At the time of purchase, in 2018, the first tentative occupancy was identified as November 2021. I rated this a yellow because their initial permit, which is publicly available information on the City of Toronto site, was delayed. But there is still time to make up for that. And considering my unit is in the middle of the tower, the handover date seems to be a few months behind considering where construction is at the time of this video. Now, a few months delay is not bad at all. Sales process. Green. The sales process and the floor plan package was good overall. What I really liked about their floor plan package was the fact that they had blown up the floor plates for the lower levels where there are more units so that you can clearly see where your unit is and things like your neighbor's layout, how far you are away from the elevator, the garbage chute, things like that. Customer service. Red. Now, I personally didn't have a great experience with customer service because of an error in the paperwork that I had to work through with them. At the time of this video, that item has since been resolved, but the response time was pretty slow and it was mainly me chasing after the item. Communications. No rating yet because they actually haven't started, and I'm not sure if they're going to be using any tools to keep buyers up to date with the progress of construction. Now, contractually, they are obligated to inform us when they start construction within 10 days, but the periodic updates is not a requirement. So we're still not sure if they're going to be using tools to update buyers on progress, so we'll have to see. Assignment clause, green. From an investor's point of view, they have a great assignment clause in that it's not explicitly tied to the construction of the building, but to the deposits that you as the original buyer has made. So for example, your unit can be assigned if you've paid your 20% deposit, 90% of the units have been sold, and with permission of the developer. Estimated occupancy, yellow. I'm rating this a yellow because at the time of this video, they're already a bit behind in terms of when they had anticipated to start construction. Now, the site has existing retail and some commercial units that need to be demolished before the site can be excavated for this project. And according to the City of Toronto site, they're a bit behind in terms of the permitting for the demolition of the existing retail and commercial. Sales process, red. This was my third worksheet purchase and it ranks the lowest by far. I felt rushed and pressured. Within the platinum release prices, the developer actually received a much higher demand than they had anticipated. And so from the time that the original price list was published and when I was allocated a unit, which is only a difference of about 2 to 3 weeks, they had actually increased the prices. Now, they do have a right to do so, but it just left a really bad taste in my mouth. The other thing is that they also ask you to choose your finishes color package when you sign the contract. And this all happens before they even deposit your first check. So you're selecting finishes before they even deposit your first check. Now, a couple ways to look at this. One is that it definitely makes the procurement process more efficient on their end because they have everyone's choices from the get-go. On the other hand, it indicates to me that they really don't want to have any contact with me or need to have any contact with me unless my check bounces or they're close to being done. Now, if this was my first purchase, that would be kind of off-putting, only because it really takes away from the experience of purchasing real estate and the pleasurable aspects of that. Customer service, green. A little bit weird to be rating this a green when the sales process is red, but just a reminder that this KPI is related to the team's approach to answering your questions after the transaction, all the way up until occupancy. Now, we're still early days in the sales process to occupancy kind of phase, but for the questions that I have asked, they have responded in a prompt and professional way. Communications. No rating yet because construction hasn't started, but I am looking forward to seeing if they will be providing periodic updates to the buyers about the progress of construction. Now, worst case scenario, I do live close to the site, so I could potentially just walk over and check it out myself. But for people who are not close to the site, obviously it would be much better if the developer does have those kinds of communication tools to communicate the kind of site update to other buyers as well. Assignment clause, green. From an investor's point of view, this project has a great assignment clause in that your unit is eligible to be assigned if you've paid your 15% deposit and if the project is 90% sold. Estimated occupancy, green. The occupancy is identified as fall of 2024. Now, this building is 13 stories and it does have a bit of a larger floor plate. So it's a mid-rise with a larger floor plate, but 4 years does appear to be realistic. So kudos to them. Okay, so here is a summary of my ratings for each of the KPIs for each of the developers that I've purchased a unit from. If I could only buy again from these 4 developers, it would be Empire Communities because of the KPIs that matter to me. It's been a great experience so far. But the intention is to try out other developers as well, so we'll see. How about you? Have you had any experience with these developers? If so, let me know in the comment section below. It would be great to hear from you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time on Research.